So number 6 on the Unit 1 test retake review, it's saying sides of a right triangle. The sides of a right triangle are always related to each other in the Pythagorean Theorem, where C is going to be the biggest side, C is going to be the hypotenuse. And it's saying X is not the hypotenuse for this particular problem. So don't put X here. X is not the hypotenuse, which means the biggest side would be, that makes 6 root 2 the hypotenuse. So I'm going to use 3 and X as my legs, as my A and my B. And I will put 6 root 2 in for C. Now here's the most common mistake. People just do this. Half of them go to their calculator, and even if you don't, that's where the mistake comes in. I need to square the entire hypotenuse. We spent a lot of time at the beginning of the semester remembering how to square a number like that. And it means I'm going to multiply it by itself. So I'm going to zoom in so I can write a little smaller. I'm going to take 6 root 2 and multiply by 6 root 2. And we had said, well, you take your coefficients, 6 times 6, and go ahead and make it 36. We said take your numbers under the radical, multiply those together. And then I can say, well, that's just the square root of 4. And I know the square root of 4 is just a regular number 2. So 6 root 2 squared turns out to just be 72. There's no radical left on that. I'm going to square my 3 squared and get 9 plus x squared is now equal to 72. So the squaring is where most people go wrong. The setting it up and the squaring properly are the main pitfalls. So I end up with x squared equals, what is 72 minus 9? 63. So I will have the square root of 63, but the directions ask for simplest radical form, and there are pairs of numbers inside of 63. Specifically, instead of the square root of 63, I can write the square root of 3 times 3 times 7. Since pairs make perfect squares, this is basically saying the square root of 9. The square root of 9 is regular 3, and I don't have anyone to pair up with the 7. So in simplest radical form, I would have 3 square root 7 for that length. To the nearest tenth, I need to just put that in my calculator, and it would be 7.9. So it asks for the area, and I want to kind of point out, I didn't look at a picture of this, but I could have. And again, we made 6 root 2 the hypotenuse. We had 3 as a leg, and I just found 3 root 7 as the other leg. It's a really gross looking triangle, number-wise. If I want the area, the formula for the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Base and height have to make a right angle, meaning the 6 root 2 is useless to me right now. I'm going to take the 3 times the 3 root 7. Whew, this is a gross problem. 1/2 of 3 times 3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. I'm just going to put 9 over 2 and stick a root 7 on it. That is technically about as good as we're going to get for simplest radical form. You will not have anything that complicated on the quiz. I scribbled out part of the triangle, and I need that because now I want the perimeter. Perimeter is just when you add up all your sides, so the 3, 6 root 2, and 3 root 7. If I said simplest radical form, we'd be done because there's no like terms, there's no like radicals. Nobody has the same number under the square root. But it asks to the nearest tenth, so I just plugged it into my calculator, and 19.4 is what it spit out. So I got 19.4 for my perimeter, and that terrible radical for my area.